Fresno, California. A new analysis of air quality in the United States clears up just how far smoke from wildfires burning in the western part of the nation can travel, as the fires continue to pose significant health risks to nearby communities. Wildfire smoke produced in the west reached as far east as Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia, increasing the number of smoky days in the east by 40%, according to an analysis released in September by NPR's California Newsroom in Stanford University's Environmental Change and Human Outcomes Lab. Researchers analyzed more than 10 years of data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. While the smoke was dispersed widely, California communities closest to the wildfires have experienced high amounts of air pollution lasting for days in the past 2 months. In some cases, pollution indexes reached levels unlike any seen before, according to health and education officials who spoke to the PBS NewsHour. On Monday, an entirely different phenomenon overtook the skies in the San Joaquin Valley. A large dust storm visible from space swooshed through the valley with winds of up to 40 miles per hour, leaving down trees and small wildland fires in its wake, and lowering visibility to as low as a mile in some places.
The wind was part of a cold system that developed over the Pacific Northwest and brought some rain earlier on October 8 but later weakened to a dry system. While it helped push out the smoke, winds picked up dust from fields and dry areas in the valley from as far north as Sacramento down to Bakersfield, areas experts say are historically dry this year. The smoke and dust that has battered California in recent weeks comes after one of the hottest summers recorded, and as the state experiences extreme drought conditions. Before the dust storm, the National Weather Service's Storm Prediction Center had raised the wildfire threat to critical in most of the Central Valley region of California due to the dry conditions. Orange skies fade the sun as smoke from nearby wildfires creates high levels of pollution in California's San Joaquin Valley. Photo by Crescencio Rodriguez Delgado. PBS NewsHour. As long as we remain with no wetting rain that comes into the valley, we'll continue to see those dust storms with any dry system that comes through, said Modesto Vasquez, meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Hanford, California. Recent rainstorms in the Sierra Nevada have helped slow the growth of the burning wildfires. For almost a month as the KNP complex and windy fires have raged in the Sierra Nevada, air pollution has fluctuated from dangerous particulate matter on some days, and clean blue skies on other days. Together, the fires have burned 185,000 acres as of this week. On a clean air day, the Sierra is visible to the east from any city or town in the valley. But the smoke creates a wall that obscures the view of the mountains, turns the sky brown and gives the sun a locally infamous reddish hue. Flurries of ash fall like snowflakes onto the valley, and within days will dust vehicles and street curbs. At first it's just the site of another wildfire nearby. But shortly after, patients begin to come in to see doctors. The pollution is really so bad that you can literally feel like you are eating pollution, said Dr. Malik Baz, an allergist and immunologist at the Baz Allergy, Asthma and Sinus Center in Fresno. This is the worst that I've seen it. Regular patients and new patients have come in through the start of the month with a litany of complaints, a cough, headache or burning sensations in their chest, eyes or nasal passages. Baz, who has lived and worked in the Central Valley for 40 years, said there has been a roughly 20 to 30% uptick in patients in recent weeks, since smoke from wildfires began setting in. Across the valley, the 14 Baz Allergy offices between Modesto and Visalia sometimes aren't enough to help all the patients. Baz said there isn't enough staff. We are trying to see our own existing patients, and some other patients, but a lot of the time we either have to turn away the patient, or we can give them an appointment for the next 2 or 3 weeks, which is not the best thing to do, but there is nothing much we can do about it, Baz said. The Pacific Southwest building in downtown Fresno fades in the distance from high levels of smoke. Air pollution reached dangerous levels in early October from wildfires burning in the Sierra Nevada. Photo by Crescencio Rodriguez Delgado. PBS NewsHour. Last week, as smoke levels were high, monitors from the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District recorded pollution made up of microscopic particles, known as PM2.5, reaching levels that are hazardous to all groups of people. The Environmental Protection Agency considers PM2.5 to be one of the most dangerous forms of pollution because the particles, which are fine particulate matter smaller than 2.5 millionths of a meter, are so tiny they can easily pass through the respiratory tract and reach the lungs and bloodstream. The particles that make up this pollution typically can come from smoke or dust during crop harvests. Monday's dust storm also elevated the pollution levels for a few hours. Short-term health effects of exposure to PM2.5 pollution includes eye irritation, sore throat, coughing, sneezing and runny nose, Baz said. Long-term effects include reduced lung function and an increase in deaths from heart disease. Researchers believe the longevity of residents in the San Joaquin Valley is lower because of chronic exposure to pollution. The San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District outlines the risks with each level of air hazard. The agency reports that the amount of PM2.5 pollution that poses the need for limited time outdoors for people without underlying illnesses is usually below 75 micrograms per cubic meter. Also, sensitive individuals, a category that includes people with asthma or other heart or lung conditions, are encouraged to exercise entirely indoors under these conditions. That wasn't the case on October 3rd, when Fresno recorded 104.6 micrograms per cubic meter of PM2.5 pollution, far above the most unhealthy level for all groups of people. That day, about 1,000 runners raced in the California Classic Half Marathon through downtown Fresno. Kendra Lopez, 33, said she ran the half marathon as training for the Chicago Marathon that took place October 10th. Lopez said some of her friends decided at the last minute the air was too unsafe to run, but she decided to race because she had already practiced in early mornings and under the smoky air.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe